It's been a while. Better Humans, YouTube, podcasts, etc. I've been busy and just content didn't seem like it was worth it. There's always something to say, mostly because we need reminders of the big ideas, the big concepts front of mind, because that's just part of our environment. We become our environment. And if we control our environment by controlling inputs into our mind and the things around us, the people around us, then we will mold ourselves. So that's what I'm talking about today, actually. And why I listen to this one podcast. It happens to be my podcast, but it's not my content. I took it from Gravemind on YouTube, which I highly recommend you go follow, like some of his videos. I just took a bunch of the videos and put them together because YouTube on mobile is just terrible. It would freeze up. It would like lag. It's just amazing that $1 billion company can't get mobile right? I put them all together and I listened to them here. 2x speed. And pretty much every day. I fell the habit for a few days or a few weeks, I would say, fell back into it. And I was like, man, how could I have stopped this? It's literally food for the brain. It is my environment. I'm shaping it. I'm molding it. Because you can listen to this stuff one time, but it's as applicable the 100th time as it is the first time. And even the 100th time, you can't stop listening to it. You can't stop feeding your brain. It's like exercise. You go to the gym, you do a workout, you're like, I'm good. I'll come back in a couple of years. We know because we can see it. We've seen people, maybe even ourselves, that have done that or tried that yo-yo, that do a little bit, don't get results, quit, try again later when they get motivated. The motivation wears off and then bam, they're back in the same spot. You can't do that. We understand that, right? Your mind and what you consume around you, the people around you, your environment is exactly the same thing. And I asked ChatGPT a minute ago, right? I asked it, most people fail to reach their goals I said, why do most people fail to reach their goals? And let's look at what this spit out. Lack of clarity. That's huge. In fact, that's what Earl Nightingale, who's a big part of these daily mind trainings, that's what he says. He says the hardest part of goals is not reaching the goals, it's deciding on the goal to go after. And most people just can't and don't do that. They have no idea what they want. Unrealistic expectations, setting unattainable goals. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think we can all pretty much do anything, though as you do age and your circumstances change, certain things become more or less viable, so you do have to factor that in for sure. But we can all do anything. And I don't think it's about unrealistic expectations. I think it's about unrealistic timelines. I think people try to do too much too fast. They don't embrace the grind, the journey. They're not patient. And so you could say that that is an unrealistic expectation because it's an expectation that it's going to happen fast, right? Or it's going to happen within this time period, or that they're going to see results like after 2 workouts or whatever. Procrastination. Now, procrastination is one of those things that I think we just solve by pretty much getting the top 2, or even it says here planning 3. Yeah, that matters too. Procrastination will solve when you have clarity, when you have realistic expectations, and when you've planned. In fact, that's pretty impressive that I can spit this into ChatGPT and it just tells me this. It's pretty crazy. When I was doing content before, this didn't exist. So now as I reactivate this for content, I'm actually pretty excited because my biggest hurdle with content is always the planning process. I don't like to spend time on it. I just want to talk about something and go, right? Hit record, hit publish. But I'm competing with people that have full production teams and that really take this stuff seriously, you know? It's funny because number 5 here, lack of motivation or commitment, it's just like number 4, procrastination. It's solved when you have these, when you have clarity, when you have realistic expectations, and when you have sufficient planning. Then you don't lack motivation because you're so excited about the thing. You know, you're visualizing, you're thinking about it every day, all day, and you're molding your environment through tools like this. Waking up every day to listen to or listen to Gravemind, right? Which you can find here on the Better Human podcast. I have 3 of them uploaded. And this one's 2 hours. Listen to it on 1.5 to 2x speed and just fill your brain. Let it even be a background thing. Like you might not be paying close attention to it, But when it's playing in the background, you're just feeding your mind. You're feeding your subconscious. You don't even realize it. It's just crazy. And this is a free resource, It's this weird dichotomy or paradox, if you will, of the modern age. It's like we have unlimited free resources for everything you need to get exactly what you want. That's literally what it is. Everything you need to get exactly what you want is found on the internet, on YouTube. You can learn how to do anything. You could learn how, in an afternoon, create a product or service solving a primary business pain, figure out an outreach strategy, then reach out to 100 businesses, close 1 to 3 of them, and you went from having no money, no revenue, maybe freaking living out of your car, to making $3 to $5 grand a month because you close a couple clients and you're providing valuable services for their business. Like, that's literally as simple, not easy, as simple as it is. It's simple. It's hard. It's hard. Rejection. You got to, it's nervous to get on sales calls. You stumble over your words. Like, there's a lot of things that go into it for sure. But if you're hungry, you'll figure all that out. If you have a vision, you will figure all that out. If you say, I want to make $5K in 60 days, and I want to have 2 clients at $2,500 each, and you think about that every single day, you write it down, you obsess over it, you do a bunch of research around it, you start talking to business owners, talking to people, you reach out, you send hundreds and hundreds of cold emails, I promise you in 60 days, you will have that goal met, period. It's literally as simple as that. Not easy, it's simple. It's as simple as that. It's not as easy as that, it's as simple as that. It's hard. It's simply hard, but it's simple. Redundancy, because you need that if you want to absorb what I'm saying here. Fear of failure, this is a big one, but it's similar to the, these other couple, that it tends to dissipate the more you do, and the more you have clarity, realistic expectations, and planning, the less you fear. And the more you just get used to like failing, like micro failures along the way. That's just learning. That's just iteration. It's like getting on a bike. You ride a bike, there's the fear you're going to fall and scrape your knee. And you're actually going to fall and scrape your knee. And then you get up on the bike again. And that fear is there. But now you're a little bit more cognizant of the last thing you did. Like maybe you turned the wheel too hard and bam, you went smack dab into the concrete. You're not going to do that again. Or you're going to go slower or whatever it is. Resources, I don't buy it. This one's actually wrong. This one says inadequate resources, limited time, money, knowledge, or support. You can learn all that and you can find that. You can create that. Ineffective habits, for sure. Absolutely. This is huge. But again, the more you have clarity, expectations, planning, the more those habits kind of figure themselves out. As long as you want it enough, you're hungry enough, and you go after it, you'll get there. And the habits will come along the way. There'll be some things you're better at, some things you're worse at. Like, I am a freaking machine when it comes to getting things done. But what I struggle with is going deep into like one thing at a time, because I have so many things competing for my attention that it pulls me out of that deep work state. But I believe my greatest work is done in that deep work state. Now, that could also be something that changes as I manage more people and I build a team. It's like I need more time leading and managing, and that increases my leverage. But there's still that need for that deep work, and I know it. I feel it. It's like that deep yearning to just really focus on something and do it to the level it deserves. So it's like, while I can put a lot of hours in and I am hyper productive and I can do like a lot of things, a lot of different things fast and mostly effective, the thing that I lack the most is taking like one thing and just going to become world-class at it, or giving it the 8 hours of deep, intense focus it needs, because I have so many other things to do, right? That is the obstacle for me, right? We all have our strengths and our weaknesses. We have to figure out how to keep getting as much as we can from our strengths while finding ways to overcome the weaknesses, because then that unlocks like, untold amount of growth. And in fact, most of our growth is found in unlocking or overcoming our weaknesses. It's not actually in our strengths, because our strengths come easy. The strengths just are like what we do naturally. But the things we're not good at, that's usually where the growth is, because we've already been doing the things we're good at, and that's taken us so far. That's what a plateau is. It's like your strengths get you to that plateau, Best timing ever she has. I'll have to call her back in a minute. I'm almost done. So, yeah, your strengths get you to the plateau. And then to get to the next level is pure weaknesses. Like, what are you going to do about your weaknesses? How are you going to overcome them? It's crazy. Inability to adapt, for sure. This is just learning, though. Like, if you want it enough and you have clarity and all the things we talked about, you will adapt and you'll figure it out. And then self-belief. That's another big one. It's kind of similar to fear. You overcome it the more you do, the more you see your own results, and the more you see how you compare to other people. This is a big one for me. I never worked in corporate America, and then a private equity group brought half my company. I started getting an insight into how they did things, how the board operated, and how like CEO that was getting paid like $50K a month, I should say, $50K a month, how he operated, and then how the team operated, how the supply chain guys and the marketing team, whatever, like how slow they were on things, how ineffective they were on things. And for sure, like there's good people and some of them were better at other things, but there was also dead weight. There was people I kept on every meeting. I'm like, why is this person here? Like, what are they doing? They're just asking obvious questions. Like, why are there 3 people on supply chain when it's obvious like it's really one person that's doing it? Or yeah, I don't know. It's just bizarre. But what that did for me is it gave me a yardstick to make me realize and overcome some of that imposter syndrome and realize just how good I am at a lot of things and how effective of a thinker I am, how fast I am, etc. I had never seen that because I had not been in that world. I had not been able to compare myself to somebody else. Now, for sure, there's like the risks of ego and myopicness or myopia that you can get from that kind of stuff. You have to balance that. Like, I'm under no illusion that like there's not more to learn or whatever. And I'm pretty aware that I need to focus on my weaknesses. But it was good to experience that because, you know, there's probably certain things that were holding me back that like I had these limited beliefs about certain things, and seeing other people and being able to kind of give myself a confidence boost, even though I don't really think about that a whole lot. Like, I don't think like I need confidence. I'm always very internally driven, but there's definitely things where you look at somebody and you're like, what do they know that I don't know? Or what are they doing that I don't know how to do? You know, it does help with that kind of stuff. So I think, you know, as comparison, primal, human, mammal, Homo sapiens that we are, we need that sometimes. We just have to be careful to not let it slide into egotism, which then keeps us blind and we think we know everything. And then that's how we plateau or even regress when we fall into that state. So short podcast to get back into it because I haven't done it in a while. And yeah, subscribe, YouTube, get this episode, the Better Human Podcast. This is the Daily Mind Training #1. There's 3 of them. That's over at thebetterhuman.co, or you can find it on podcasts, whatever. I'm also on YouTube. This will be on YouTube. So if you're there, just subscribe, like if you want. If you don't, doesn't matter. But hit the like button. That does help. And I'll see you in the next one. Maybe it'll be soon. Maybe it'll be later. I don't know.